This is where the theme music goes, but I don't have any yet. So this is where it goes. Ta-da!
Hi, welcome to the second attempt at an advice show. Here's hoping that this one also goes well. I basically collect questions, which you can also submit on my user requested and recently created Discord server, which I'll link to in the description, or just in the comments. You can request advice on anything. I'll do a little bit of reading if I don't already know, and I'll come up with something. I have collected several questions that would be interesting, hopefully helpful. So without further ado, I'd like to say thank you to Polerix for the background music, and extend an open invitation to anyone who wants to submit a theme song, because that one I just used was just a joke. Anyway, on with the questions and the strangeness, because, well, that kind of on my brand by now. Oh boy. Let's see. I'm told I'm beautiful, but I just can't see it. How do I change this? Well, I got that one off of Reddit, and I read her entire post, and she spent a good 7 paragraphs insulting herself for pointing out flaws that she personally saw. That's the first thing you gotta change. I mean, look at this face. I could go on and on and on about things I don't like about it. And, no, I'd rather you not agree with me out of habit, because you... What I mean is that you could fix things. Like, if you don't like your acne, if you have some, you could get medication for that. If you don't like scars, if you have any, you could get vitamin E gel caps and use a liquid that you can pop out of it to make them fade to skin tone. I've got lots of scars, you just can't tell. You don't like your texture of your hair, you could get specialized shampoo that you could, change that or improve it, whatever. But the biggest thing is you have to start looking for positive things about yourself, because your self-esteem is quite aptly named. It's self-esteem. You have to like how you look in order to feel the confidence and, stand up straight and go, look at this, I am amazing, even though I am not the most amazing. Believe me, I'm still amazing in some ways. Hope that helps a little bit, even though that's a bit of esoteric. How do you continue living your life after failing college classes every semester? Well, if you're dead set on not trying again, don't bother wasting the money. College is a money trap. It's expensive for jobs that aren't very good paying anymore. What you could do is you could use the same money you were going to spend on more college and do some research and set up your own business. The most successful businesses did not come from college graduates. It came from some random people who just kind of started doing their thing and got good at it. There's more than a few beer companies who looked up recipes for booze in the library and just started making it. There's electronics companies all over the place that the original people were dropouts. All I'm saying is, find the thing you're good at or that you like to do and then get good at it and monetize it. Which would you rather do? Start being happy or waste more time? There's only so much every one of us has. How do I stop overeating? Well, I've actually got some experience with that, given my flubbily light bulb looking nature. The first suggestion is to only cook when you're not hungry. That way you're not going to make too much stuff. And then you portion everything out into individual packs that you reheat one at a time, so that you only eat whatever's been reheated. Because if it's inconvenient to make more, you might not. Also, concerning the nutrition itself. Depending on your physiology, you might need this or that different. Make sure you're consulting a doctor if you have to. But generally, what you do is you have more than one sense of taste in a meal. All of them, actually. There's like, there's 5 of them. I just counted on my notes. They are sweet, sour, bitter, salty, and savory. If you have a little bit of each of those in your meal, you will feel full because your body wants one of each per meal and will make you eat until you get it in many cases. So if you look that up, the 5 different tastes, you'll see. There's way too much to go into about that, but that's a good jumping off point for research that can actually help you. What if the only thing you're good at is meaningless? Well, depending on what it is, you could make it meaningful. People who memorized everything about certain games or comic books work in comic shops because that's their expertise, but take them out of that job and they're just underqualified for many things in some cases. If you memorized everything about, let's say, movies and video games, you could work at EB Games or, have a YouTube channel about that. Something like that. You could, find people who find your specialty useful and monetize what you need to do to them. You're never useless to everyone. Like a dog groomer's not going to be so great around, stockbrokers, but stockbrokers with dogs might need a dog groomer. How do I make my room sound quieter? Headphones. Wireless headphones. And lots of batteries if they take them. Rechargeable ones at that. Just be careful not to damage your hearing because sometimes the volume around us is much, much louder, so it reaches us, so the volume has to be adjusted very carefully so you don't end up with tinnitus and hearing damage and stuff like that. But yeah, if you can't do headphones, you could always build or buy sound baffles. They absorb sounds and prevent echoes. You could make them out of boards, cloth, and egg cartons, or you could just buy them for a pretty penny from specialty shops like Long and McQuaid or, other places that sell audio equipment that I may not know in your area. How shall I deal with being quarantined with extremely noisy parents? Okay. As long as you do this a little bit playfully, it'll work. If you do it the other way, you're going to tick somebody off pretty bad, so be careful with this one. But record them being noisy. So what I did to my dad when I wanted to prove he was snoring, I just went right next to him with a tape deck and taped him. Oh, and for those who don't know, a tape deck is an old magnetic strip recording device that's dead format. So just go up to them with your phone, and record what they're doing that's loud, and then when they're calm and in a good mood, play it back for them and say, I'm not even boosting the gain on this. This is how loud you are. Or, I'm from very far away right now. You'll hear it, that sort of thing. If you do it right, maybe they'll notice and try to change their ways. If you do it wrong, they'll get super angry and try to kick you out. So be careful how you do it. Ooh, sad one. My grandmother died a few hours ago. How do I make this feeling stop? Well, as someone who's lost a family member or two in my time, I can tell you, the short answer is you can't. Grief burns like you're being set on fire. And it's supposed to. Losing people is not something you should ever be able to get used to unless you're a callous and very, very bad person. So, the only thing we can do is mitigate it, or try to deal with it. I found one way to make it a little bit easier was to think of the memories of the people I lost that made me smile. The good times, because you'd want, when you think of them, to make you happy. Unless you hate them, in which case, why are you feeling the loss, But, no one can ever tell you to grieve one way or the other. It's just not something that anyone can ever control, because everyone grieves differently. Some people throw themselves into their work or their hobbies. Some people just write it. I suggest putting it to use in non-destructive ways. If you're a writer, use it for a scene where somebody in your book loses somebody. You can get it kind of expressed that way. You could always be a sculptor or anything else like that, artistic. But the point is that it does get easier. It just takes a while because it's grief. It's sort of one of the more basal experiences people have, and since it was unexpected in the case that I read about just now, it's not something you can prepare for. You can allow your family members or anyone else around you to be supportive if you want to. Just remember that other thing I said, though. No one can tell you how to grieve. Just do whatever makes you feel better, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else or yourself. Yeah. So these were all the questions I could find for now that I got a hold of. Boy, that last one was a doozy. If you'd like to submit a question for me to answer, because no topic is unsafe unless it's really, really disgusting, and then I'd tell you. Just submit one on the Discord that I made, or maybe leave a comment and ask the question. I'll put it in the next one of these I do. You know. I'd also like to say thank you for watching.
This is where the theme music goes, but I don't have any yet. So this is where it goes. Ta-da!